This is day 1414, 1414 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. It should be as close for Army Soul, especially protection against potential attacks by our enemies such as Iran, which is in the news at the moment. Zichron. Today we're doing You're There, Siman, Rei Samach Dalid, Sifta Zayin, Tchad Gimel. Tezai, Ketzai Moed. How do you do Bismillah? Da, Yishlok, Yagid Hazeh, this organ at its tip, Yesh Basar has flesh, Bechibra Basar Agid, and the where this flesh connected to the organ, Hugava, it is raised, Umakib Savi Agid, and it surrounds the organ, Nikra Atar, it's called a crown. Bosakev Eno Bigul Yashar, it's that circumference is not a straight circle. But rather on the top of the organ, this crown extends towards the body, and it gets narrower at the bottom of the organ, to close to the tip of the organ. That's the tour. But a child of 8 days old, because the organ is very small, it's not so recognizable. Bekulo, this orla is all this flesh. Amakom close abasar hamuchubelagid until the end of this flesh, where it's connected to the organ, which is Shua Torah. Therefore, it says in Torah, Orel basar. Actually, it's in Yecheskel and Dalet. Orel basar mishum the orla yabasar alabasar. The orla is on the flesh. For lashon timtum, the orla is language of thickening, of literally stupidity. Kamo Aralev, like stupid of heart. V'chein Orla Ozem Mishma, and it's a blockage, stupidity blockage. The Orla Ozem Mishma, his ear is thickened from hearing. Klomar Shabbosim Tumtum, the tum utoch Orla, meaning that the flesh is stopped up and hidden within the Orla underneath it. So that means that on this flesh there are two membranes. One is thick and very obvious. But it seems that Torah commanded to cut off the thick flesh and will come until the place of the Torah. Therefore, the Moel extends this flesh with his fingers above the flesh of the organ, not to cut the flesh of the organ. And it's best in order to cause the aver to be organ is somewhat erect, to extend it well. There is a shield which many Moelim use nowadays in order to define the difference between the orla and the rest of the organ. Remember, you cut off all the flesh, like we wrote. Not like those who cut just a little bit at the tip. Or you have to cut all of the flesh, all the skin, up to the Antorah. When a child is born circumcised, obviously he's not born literally circumcised. And it's called as Nesha Pasuach Hagid, because the organ is exposed. It looks like he's born circumcised. Or kitzara, then the skin over the organ is short. And the mo has to be very careful cutting it. You have to cut very slowly, deliberately around it. Then the cut is very small because he's born with a small amount of skin there. So it's open on top. Looks like he's born circumcised. But if he's really actually no mohu, there is no flesh or law, so you only have to cut a bit in order that blood should come out. It's cut a little bit of that blood should come out. After you completed the cutting, after the ripping. There is another membrane on the flesh of the organ, a thin membrane below the skin which is cut off. You stick your nails between the membrane and the flesh. You rip it here and here. Until you see the actual flesh of the Torah. Closure of a general principle is Achituchu, she's Gala Torah. The cutting is to reveal the entire Torah. From Makom Siyam Abasa Vasklo Sagid, that's the place where the flesh of the oil ends and the organ begins. Yizgala, it should be revealed, the Eitzim Menorah of and come out of its thick skin. Vapriya, Megal Kol Abasa Shara Torah, and the Priya then reveals all of the flesh up to the Torah. Vyotzim Kuma Racham, the Abasa comes out of if you didn't build out the priya, it's no good. I forgot that Avraham priya. Avraham was only not commanded on priya. Rakal chituk about only on cutting off the orla. Sheet no Torah. Torah was given. Nemra priya. Priya was instituted. So you see, I would say the marvel of part and either shul kim kom mitzvah, kom kim chatzim mitzvah. Okay, so I might say, well, true, he didn't fulfill the entire mitzvah, but he fulfilled half of the mitzvah. So it tells us as if he didn't do bris milah at all. Similarly for Tasiyotov. Your test, lachar priya, after doing the priya, yaseh metzitzo, you do the sucking. This is to for the benefit of the child. Shemotet tamil b'fi, you suck the bris milah place where you made the wound with your mouth, kadesh adam, since so the blood should emerge and come from deep under the skin, in order not to come to a sakana. Therefore Chazal said, a male who does not suck, we remove it. Sakana, it's danger for the child. And you suck well until the blood ceases. Nowadays, those who say it's better to do the mitzitah not with the mouth, because adam, but with some sponge, which sponges up the blood. We don't listen to them. I'm saying the Shas knew more than they did. But the person doing something has to have a clean mouth, without any disease, and with clean teeth. And certainly that which we heard to our great regret. Some countries, that the priya is not done by nails, but by some small machine, which does priya. It's an astonishing thing. We shouldn't have new things like this. We should be like our forefathers. And the same Lashman is that we didn't find here such a thing in the Arukh. This is the motzaitz should be the person who's doing the sucking should be careful with his lips to reveal that Torah properly. Sometimes child is fleshy, chubby. Looks like the skin around the Torah falls downwards. No idea what it means, but in any event, every time the mitzitza, you push this skin downwards and downwards, but it shouldn't fall back again. And you put on the milah after the mitzitza, a plaster of a chamon, or there's some sort of herb which is good for obviously the wound, or a tia, or some other bandage, or avak samim, or some sort of powder has which stops the blood. And the same nosim avak me'etz rekev screen pulver, whatever that is. They put that kind of powder. So we put it on a rag with cold water. But when you put it on a rag, but has a hem. To turn the hem outwards, not inwards. In order that the hem shouldn't stick to the milah and and bring to danger. There are strips of flesh which impede the milah. Those which don't impede it. These are strips which remain from the flesh of the orla, from the skin of the orla. If the skin is still lying on the thread, which is high, which is goes around, which is the circumference between the flesh of the orla and the organ. So ikar Torah, that's the primary Torah. Shamsach is galus the Torah. You have to reveal that Torah. In Badar chut or ha'orla mekifas beros hasovev. If it's still a thread of the skin of the orla surrounds it, in the majority of that circumference, our bisheno mechasa robagiv doesn't cover up the majority of the organ. He's still an orel. Then you have to cut this thread. Even if it doesn't go around most of the circumference, it's also part of the circumference. But it covers most of the height of the organ in that place. I'm not sure exactly what it means. It's also betterment. And on these strips, you go back even on Shabbos. They mark the meal because they render the meal unfit. Avonim ain't kan low rov go below rek. If you know the majority of the height, nor the majority of the circumference, Mikra teacher say mark listen let's call strips which will not repeat the meal. Shabbos ain't close the lamb, so on Shabbos you don't go back over them. Avo bechol, but on weekday also tzit come teacher say mark. You should also go back on those which are not an impediment. Also, some mitzvah gdoila has those there, so we make this mitzvah more splendid. All mitzvahs you have to do zekeh van veu. Do it in Mahuda way, certainly by bris milah. Chapes kasab Rambam buried based in hay. The Rambam writes katan shebasar rachum dudal. If you have a child whose flesh is soft and thin, bioser, very much thin, osha basar. On the other hand, he's chubby, achakilu eido mo, to the point that he doesn't look like I had a bris milah. Rosa beishi's kasher. Look at him when his organ is erect. In If he looks like he has a bris milah, ain't so klum doesn't mean you require anything. But you have to fix the flesh here and here because of the way it looks. The time he gets erect, he does not look at a bris milah. We go back and we cut the hanging flesh from here. Basically, to the Torah looks revealed at the time of erection. The dove is empty. We're serving this rabbanan. I mean, the Torah ava pishu near a coral would be the rice, even though it looks like an oral. Holo mal, since he went to the bris milah, ain't so chlamur ban shades. Don't do a second bris milah. Akal shono. The zesh kasa benir mo b'shas hakishui. They ain't saying so klum that which was if he looks like he's circumcised at the time of the erection, you don't require anything. So I attack sabashim mekan mekan. You have to fix the flesh from here. Haribush just means answer klum machtoch. You don't have to cut anything. You fix it rather by pulling the skin and push it backwards. You and tie it there to the point that it is going to stay there for a little time, so the matter won't go back over to bottomwards again. Because the they all right that way. The Rama writes, answer Shir Barov. You don't have to see the time of the erection, most of that Torah. However, since it was properly circumcised, I feel like that Torah, even though you see a minority of that Torah, and you see that it's circumcised, that's enough. You still do second bris milah. Never seem efshar, but it's possible. You're talking or you should fix it by pulling on the skin and push it backwards. Tight there, to the point that it remains restrained there. But it doesn't go back down. He adds another kula. Even in the time he's erect, sufficient if the minority of that Torah is revealed to have been circumcised. So the time reasons came to Zel Rakim Rabbanak. This Rabbanak much because of a Rambam. Lo merachmin about kolkach. We're not so machmir. The sources from the Jumas of Deshet. This is astonishing. Though Zel Plukta b'Shabbos so perikutes seems machlokis and b'Shabbos tavkuf lamed zayin. The Bryce the time of Shingam Leon Mer Katan Hamasur Bol says Shingam says we have a Katan who's chubby. We're also look at when he's erect, ain't on near mo. If he doesn't look mo, tzarich lemulo. He's got to do b'smi. You have to do b'smi. He'll be loved. If not, he doesn't look like he's still has an orla. And so he don't have to. Shmuel Mar Roina so Shemiskasha. Shmuel says, look at him when he is erect, near a mole, and they look small. And so lemulo. You don't have to b'smi. He'll be loved. So now you have to. My benai was between the two of them. Ika benai near vein on near. It's seen and not seen. Rishim Gamliel ain't on tzarich lemulo. L'shmuel tzarich lemulo. Ayin sham it's machlok Rishim Gamliel and Shmuel. This is the middle of this topic, but it goes on for a long time. So here's where it's supposed to stop. So we'll just stop here for tonight in any event.